if I knew someone really liked ACOTAR, someone really liked Fourth Wing, I would definitely recommend this book to them. The dialogue scenes, way better than Fourth Wing. Oh, I cannot explain to you, like, it's so much better than Fourth Wing. But the spice level was the lowest I've ever read in a romantasy book. Thank Christ.
Welcome back, everybody, to another Tutor Ramble episode. I'm one of your hosts, Austin.
I'm your other host, Richard.
We just read Reign and Ruin by J.D. Evans. We're going to do a spoiler-free review of this for 10 minutes, and then we will let you know when spoilers are happening, and we'll give you that warning, then talk the whole book. This was the SPFBO winner, the 7th winner of this competition. And SPFBO, if you've been following along with our videos, it's the self-published fantasy blog-off, which Mark Lawrence hosts, and Rich and I are one of the 10 judges who get to judge and rank the 10 winners of the past decade. This being the 7th winner, which was the winner in 2021. We are here to react, to judge, let you know what our thoughts are. And we'll do that because this was the first book of the Mages of Wheel series. There's 4 books currently out, and there's also a prequel. So this was a romantasy.
I did not know it was a romantasy when I first started it. It was, I went in blind, and so, but I did warn you. I gave you the warning.
I did know it was romantasy because you told me you read it a couple days before me, let me know it was romantasy, so I did know that going in.
Yes.
From your tell.
Did that help?
Yeah.
Because I think it sets expectations.
It did set expectations, yes. Take our review, at least personally speaking, I think you as well. I'm not a romantasy fan, so I'm going to be speaking about this from a not romantasy fan. There are romance books I do love, Sword of Kaigen being one of those, which was also a winner of SPFBO, and Pride and Prejudice. Good. So there's romance books, but specifically romantasy. We've read ACOTAR, we've read Fourth Wing. This would be, I guess, the 3rd we've read and reviewed on this channel. So that is our knowledge of romantasy coming into this.
So take our review with a grain of salt in this genre. However, I do think we have some interesting things to say about it. And my goal here is to articulate, because I think this book, more so than others, articulates at least exemplifies a problem that I have in the genre in how I see it today. And so I would like to talk about that with you.
So, however, that being said, obviously, book's not written for me. Didn't love it. However, if you're a romantasy fan and comparing this to the big ones such as Fourth Wing or ACOTAR, this is more romantasy, but leans a bit more into the world building aspect of it. There's more political intrigue going on than I would say your Fourth Wing. That it has it's similar, but it does a little bit more in that end. I would say this for the first half of the book is fantasy, and then the romantasy becomes quite apparent. So that to set up your expectations properly. What is the actual story about? Rich, inciting incident. Do you want to give a little pitch of what the book is?
Sure. The inciting incident here is, again, this is first 1-2 chapters. Spoilers, really. So Naime is the Sultan's daughter, and she is trying to cover up the fact that her father has dementia and is losing part of himself. And so she has to keep this away from her council members while she is also planning to take control of the throne for herself. And instead of being married off and basically passing the crown of the Sultan to her future husband, she wants to take the authority and power for herself because she believes she is the right one to rule.
Very interesting premise.
Right. A very interesting premise here.
Yes.
And all of this, part of her grand plan is behind the Sultan's council's back. She is proposing an alliance with a long and bitter enemy. Fair enough. I think that's as much as I can go. Can I go in any further without spoilers?
That's good. That's good.
That's enough.
Yeah.
I think it's a very good setup.
Yes.
Very intriguing. I was on board from that setup when I started reading this book.
Yeah, you're going to see that. Obviously, it's, as Rich is saying, that you see the political intrigue in it, and okay, this main character, this female protagonist, that's trying to cover up for her own father's dementia in front of the court and having to maintain face
and manipulate the political court machinations is very, very apparent in the very beginning.
Yes. Now, what did others think about this? We had, since this was the winner, the 7th winner at SPFBO, it was the winner of that year, and it had ratings ranging from 6.5 to 9.5. The 6.5 came from Fantasy Faction, 9.5 came from Before We Go blog, and then a couple of 7s, a lot of 7s, and 8.5, so forth. So it was in that range. Online Goodreads is over a 4.2. So if you're a Romantasy fan, I think this would land for a ton of people.
I do too.
Clearly, it's very highly rated. Now, what is your overall rating, your spoiler-free Rambler rating out of 5 stars for the book?
Out of 5 stars, my official rating is a 2 out of 5 flawed.
Gotcha. I might increase mine to that. Right now, mine's a 1.75 star. Very flawed. At the end of this review, because at the end we'll change ratings. I kind of want to discuss this one out, see if something changes, because maybe that's just my bias toward not liking the genre. But I do think I have a lot of things to touch on that more genre related. But even this book specifically, I think the biggest flaw I had was specifically the flaws of the characters and how they were represented in the relationship, the romance, not just the genre tropes of it, but specifically what their wants and needs were and how that performed in the plot. There's actual character issues that I think I had here that made it less compelling than it could have been, especially because the premise is something that you and I would be down for. Like, ooh, political machinations. How cool is that?
Yeah.
So biggest sticking point, maybe that's why it didn't connect. And obviously this book will connect a lot if you like the romance and between the two main characters here, because we get Naime and then the other character point of view is Makram, and we go back and forth between their perspectives throughout the book.
This is the chief reason why I told you ahead of time of like, hey, this is a romantasy, not a fantasy political thriller, which is what I thought as I started going in, that's what I thought it was. And when I found out that it was a romantasy, I got a little disappointed because the focus started to change. So I wanted you to have the correct expectations so you wouldn't feel as disappointed as I was. So you go into it looking for it.
Definitely. And what about you? What were your main issues with the book and things that you'd say were good but just didn't hit for you?
I think the good part of it, and we'll have a discussion on it. I really enjoyed the setup for the world building. However, I'm really straddling that fence of am I desiring more from the book because the world building has done a good job, or am I needing more because it is lacking? It is lacking details and elements that I want. I don't know. And that's I'm really on the fence here with the world building, but the characters do not feel alive. They feel more like caricatures than actual people. And there seems to be a great disconnect between their goals, aims, and then how they act in scenes. I think I finally narrowed in on a key feature of romantasy that I particularly don't like, and comparing it to other romance stories that I do like. And so we'll get into that with characters. Along with that, the plot feels a lot like this is a full-length book, but by the end, it feels very much like the plot is actually more like a short story that was stretched to a full-length novel because of how the romance was handled. It felt very, very stretched out. So those are my spoiler-free thoughts.
Yeah, I agree with all that. And I just plugged in our numbers here. Because we have to rank the books, and this is the 7th one we've actually finished. We have 3 more SPFPO books to do after this. This ranks currently last for us at number 7. So Reign and Ruin below Murder at Spindle Manor, which is our previous bottom. So this is number 7 for us in last place currently. Then we'll have 3 more books to look at and review. And also, we talk books every single month in our Patreon, link in the description down below. If you want to join our monthly book club, the chat books, we don't do romantasy though, so I don't know if this is the proper video to plug that. I will say we don't typically, however, we have our ACOTAR series we do.
Yep.
And
series implies that there's more.
Yeah, we did 2.
We did 2. That's the end of the series.
Number 3's coming.
No, we're Netflix. We do 2. We don't know
them.
We don't know the number 3. We don't know that exists.
If you want to see our full category break it down, check this out down below on screen. That because our ratings go into 6 different categories here. There's that. Anything else you want to say in spoiler free to let people know? Maybe the spice rating. How spicy does it get, Rich?
You know what? That's a big plus in my book, and it's a personal thing. It's not an actual objective thing. But the spice level was the lowest I've ever read in a romantasy book. Thank Christ. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Does that say more about Forcewing and ACOTAR or less about this? You know, where's that?
I don't know, but it has some spice in there, and it goes on for a long-ass time. But look, comparatively speaking, it was less so. It was very tame, and I appreciate it for my sensitive ears.
Your Puritan, you
Puritan
can't,
ears.
Naughty. Yes.
I appreciate it. However, there was a moment, this is just an aside, but there was a moment of when we were unpacking the car, my audiobook automatically, so we were going all together with our friends, and I was unpacking the car and they were helping me, and my audiobook just started playing. And one of our friends said, like, are you listening to like erotica, Richard? And it was during the sex scene. Like, and I'm like,
no, I'm a judge on this. I swear I'm a judge on the competition.
I swear. A podcast. I have to read it.
It's not just fake. It's all.
So yeah, that was fun.
That is fun.
To be fair, that he followed up that statement with like, oh, I'm like, no, it's actually a fantasy book. It's like, oh, I just assumed it was narrated by a woman, so I assumed it was erotica. I'm like, oh, you turned it around.
Okay,
now he's the guilty one. Switcheroo.
Deflection.
Anyway, deflection. It was funny.
Okay. Anything else?
Now we're good to go.
All right. So possibly if you want to go check out the book, we'll put that link in the description down below as well. And let's get into now more substantive stuff of our reactions to the book. So spoiler warning here. Tune off if you don't want to hear spoilers for this romantasy. We're going to get a little sensual this episode. Spoiler warning, and emotional impact. What did you give it out of 5?
I gave it a 2.25.
Very disappointing. Yeah.
Very disappointing. Disappointing is the right word because I feel like this could be more. And I wouldn't say completely bad, where I was intrigued, especially far more in the beginning. But, and even the romance elements is not, like, I wouldn't want the romance completely gone. I like that the romance is tied together with the story where that's not what I'm objecting to. I did like elements of it, but by the end, I was very much disconnected by the characters and uninterested in the plot when I was at a much higher level in the beginning of the book. So, very disappointed.
I did give this 1.5 stars bad. Mm-hmm. And that's mainly because, so if we have the 2 threads going on with the politic and the romance, right?
Yeah.
I agree with you. The setup I was interested in, it was the payoff there that just, for one, I'm not emotionally connected to the romance, which we can get into those details. However, even the ending of the political intrigue was that beyond disappointing, just left me with nothing to be desired at the end. And
there were some real moments there where there's supposed to be big harum triumph moments, and really fell flat for me with how smart she is supposed to be, and that the ultimate solution was just, I'm just going to say I'm assaulted. I'm just going to take power. And that works. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
Well, for all the political machinations too, the antagonist, whose name is
Kadir.
Kadir, yes, and the fight just kind of goes out by the end of it's just a very quick resolution of okay.
Yeah.
I mean so I guess that's why more and again I don't have a reaction like wow this is so bad. It's just more so it's not that there was cringy or something wrong with it. It was more so I was never invested in the story really, other than the inciting incident of being intrigued by that, but also knowing it's a romantasy. I was interested how the romance and that plot and the politicking would combine. And I guess talk about that. Is there a specific moment that you started to get disconnected from the book at all? Because again, this is very subjective of just emotionally, were you there or not? And it seems like the fact that it's romantasy is going to be a drawback for us in general.
In general, however, I was not opposed to the romance at the start.
Yeah.
So where it started to become I started to become disconnected is highly tied to the character's portrayal. When the romance was an element of their character, when Naime was trying to, take the throne from her father with consent, of course. She had her father's consent. She's not trying to wrestle it from him. But as she's trying to do that, and then her falling in love with this prince that she brings in for the treaty, I think the balance of that was better when it was two elements of the story and of her character. At a certain point, and the same thing with Makram, of he had a bit more to go, like there was a bit more to his character than just his devotion to Naime. At a certain point, there was no distinction that every single scene with Naime, whether it was with Makram or not with Makram, was about Makram. Every single scene. She can be in the middle of a council meeting, and ultimately it came back to Makram. She's thinking about him constantly.
And vice versa.
And vice versa. Makram has no agency beyond his eternal devotion to Naime. And there can be scenes of that. Those are great to have, like the important dramatic scenes of like when they value their love for each other over something else. Great. But every scene, to give an element of an example of my frustration, is Naime's friend Samira, her maid servant, whatever have you, but a close confidant and friend is going through this terrible relationship. There seems like you're going to start the subplot, and ultimately, Naime goes like, "Oh, it's her decision. I can't control it," but ultimately then just goes back right to think about Makram. And to me, it bothered me that was all her character was. And when that became her sole identity and not as a leader, a friend, all these other elements that I felt should have been, if not the primary importance, at least significant, it felt hollow. And her character felt hollow. And that's where I really disconnect from both her and Makram.
Yeah, and when we get into characters too, I agree. I'll pause on the character stuff so we don't get it all out of the way now.
Yeah, I apologize. I just wanted to get into
that's a good point.
Couple scenes of where the setup was like, okay, this seems like something that would be important to Naime.
Mm-hmm.
And then that goes nowhere. That's the thing that really let me down emotionally.
Gotcha. Yeah, I would say, so for the two aspects of this book, emotionally speaking, so me not being a romance fan, but take that also, I think the romance aspect of it, even for romance, was, again, not as graphic, but very long scenes of romances. That there were very, and I guess that is something that the audience would like. If you're connected to these two characters, you want to see that moment of them coming together. It's exciting. It's all okay. The opposites attract. Look, going to ruin your enemies and finding somebody that you end up falling in love with, and this person you can actually respect as a leader for once. When your brother, you just want him to be a leader, and you're just kind of lying to yourself. But look at this person who actually is worth serving, right? Mm-hmm. You kind of have that interaction, and again, to get into just the more moment to moment of what didn't hit or didn't work, okay. For example, the dementia plotline with the father having dementia, and by the end that being very quickly resolved from Makram. And like whether it was that or Kadir's antagonism, anything that had to do with the political machinations was more easily solved by the romance. And like the romance solved everything. Or in reverse, again, I'm having a difficult time because being so disconnected from a book, I don't have the emotional moment that was necessarily groundbreakingly. It's just from the get-go of, okay, this is where I'll go more into the romantasy as a genre of why it was difficult for me to get invested in this. How many stories have we read in just the romantasy where it's boy meets girl, girl meets boy? It's the guy who's capable of destruction and ruin, who the woman falls in love with, who's a green flag because he actually respects her, will stand by her. And so it's more so some of the fatigue from my end. So I do apologize. That is just how I don't like these kind of books where it's so obvious where the book is going. And I say this all the time: predictability doesn't mean bad, but it's also obvious. And even the scene by scene is like, of course, they are going to get together, have their good time, then have a splitting apart because miscommunication. And guess what? My brother, you say this about my brother? Oh my God, butt heads. And then wait a second, come together in the end, and the politics get solved. And at the end of the book is now saying, all right, you ready to do this? You as the leader. At every step of the way, it's just felt like more of a chore to read on my part. So that's why I have to say bad. Of just I would not have read this if it wasn't for the competition. At the same time, like, sorry, I'm saying all these bad things, but full honesty, sorry. It's just that's more the genre portion of it where it's bad. Whereas the intrigue part was her father has dementia. She's taking this role. I guess where it could have been interesting, where it could have done well with Kadir and the antagonist and her having to hide her father having dementia. All of that just kind of gets solved again by this latter half in the romance of, well, all that just goes.
Or
and is settled,
maybe seeing more of a conflict between the romance and what she desires as a ruler, where it kind of all lines up. There is a certain point where she's traveling and she's traveling to Makram's, home country, and is lamenting that, I may love him, but it can never be, and like we're never going to see each other again because I have to do it. All these things are in conflict. That can never happen. And I'm sitting here as the reader going, literally everything can be solved by you two marrying each other. Like all of your problems could go, like it actually is the solution, logically speaking, like laying out things of, okay, as of now, she has to marry someone, but via the rules, like council will have to accept it. So she's going to have to marry somebody, but anybody she marries from the council is just basically going to take the throne for themselves because that's how the succession works, and she'll basically be nothing after that. So can't marry someone like that. She also loves Makram. She wants to be with him. And so marrying the prince of the enemy country, and also she wants this alliance. Okay. Marriage with the prince of your enemy nation, that's part of the alliance deal. Hey, this is a part, like, we are allied together. Your nation, my nation come together in one ruler. Also, he's not from the council, so they won't be controlling him. They also wouldn't accept the rule of, a foreign leader as their actual sultan, so they would more willingly acquiesce to her being the sultan. And then lastly, of course, she loves him and doesn't want to be with anybody else. Win, win, win. Like, it's all there. And if I'm thinking it, she's supposed to be super smart. Why isn't she thinking this way?
Also, can I just say, for once I was going, where's a little love triangle here? Let's get something involved in it.
And it goes together too well. And beyond that, this started it a little bit in the beginning of Makram going to her, like, does she care about me? Does she care about power? How do I get, like, conflicting interests? And then that's dropped. And that bothered. Like, I would have liked some actual conflict there of, like, the romance is in the way of her gaining power, or is an obstacle, maybe has to be creative about it and actually getting through. Like, how does she get both? Does she have to sacrifice one or the other? What does she do? It just fits too easily all together of like,
And-
have her cake, eat it too, betray no one, and everything's good.
And exactly, specifically to talking about just emotional impact to me, again, this is the emotional impact to me because this book does very much read as it's a self-insert to, I could see a female audience here, men can like it too, but I could see a woman reading this and getting that more self-insert character, male-dominated field of, nobody wants her to rule. There's these rules set in place, and the female character is trying to break this and be a ruler where she's not allowed to. And so I get the appeal to, okay, you're in this position, and you find a man who finally appreciates you, looks at you for who you are, and not just everybody else who looks down at you. Like, I get all that. It's just, I'm reading something that's clearly not targeted to me. So I get the appeal. At the same time, I'm reading it going that self-insert. And the same thing could be said, hey, look at my YA, self-insert Percy Jackson or Take Your Ender. But I will get to why I even think those characters are done better than characters in this book. However, it's that's what it is. It's just you see it, and I'm constantly reading the thing going like, okay, this is not for me. Got it. And it's the constant reminder of that. But did you want to talk more emotionally? Want to get to thought-provoking?
Yeah.
Quick, because I think characters will have the most to say. So let's get to this.
Sure.
So thought-provoking, did you rate it? Would you give it out of 5 stars?
I gave it 2.
2? I gave it 1.5. Bad.
Yeah.
And a lot of this is going to be tied to other stuff, but it's going for general unity, destruction, challenges of leadership, those general themes, right?
Also relevant to have you mention, it goes over power dynamics and gender roles.
Yes.
I don't think it does anything interesting with those ideas. It just
Exists. Yeah.
exists. Like, look, power dynamics exist. And hey, look, it just mentions it and then like turns it on its head, but it says nothing interesting about it. Compare this to something like Sword of Kaigen, which actually plays with the idea of gender roles and explores it in a very interesting way. That actually explores it rather than just stating and then moving on. There doesn't seem to be any real challenge. So, yeah, it feels not tacked on. It is a central theme of it, but boring.
Yeah, and this is where maybe the big point at the end, we're looking at Makram and how he's the ruin part of this reign and ruin, the destruction, the sixth part of the wheel, and death. It's so. I guess the message at the end being that death doesn't have to be the end. It's also starting anew, starting fresh, that kind of thing. Again, just the themes are there and present. Just that it lower score just because it's not anything I'll think back to, really.
Yeah.
But also, does it do anything wrong? No. There's nothing wrong. I do agree in general with these themes of like, those things are unity. It's
Yay.
good. Yeah. So I don't, maybe not harp too much on this because I don't think I have much substance to say other than didn't land. Do you want to talk more substance on thought-provokingness or go right into characters?
I think it'll lead right into characters anyway.
Okay. Yeah, because characters, this is where I have a lot to say. And then can just try. Sorry, I tried to hold back and go to our category. So I will start to opine more. But characters, I gave 1.75 stars, very flawed.
I also gave a 1.75, very flawed.
Yes. So this is where the characters to me did not feel real. And this is where I have the issue. And of course, this is the central thing you need to get behind in a romance. So, hey, I like Pride and Prejudice. Those characters feel real to me. Yeah. I like Sword of Kaigen. It's one of my favorite books ever created. Those are the realist characters. Misaki's the goat. And so in this one, we have Makram and we have Naime. Who do you want to focus on first? We can get into others afterwards.
Let's start with Naime.
That makes sense. Protagonist, yes.
Let's start with the protagonist.
So how do you want to start with Naime?
Let's go over her wants and needs.
Yes.
So, basically, what she wants is she wants the throne for herself. She wants to take power of the Sultanate. By the end of it, it is she needs to let go of holding everything in and keeping, this icy facade that she needs to break. She needs to let go sometimes and unburden herself by the weight of responsibility to close confidant like Makram. She needs to open up. I mean, is that basically the arc of her story?
Yeah,
for the most part.
Yeah.
As far as her being a competent ruler, she has nothing really to learn about that. Like, she is on that front, she does not need to change. It's the rest of society that needs to change to her. She is the best ruler. That is assumed from the beginning. We're off that. Like, the only thing standing in her way is the prejudice of the men around her. All right. So she doesn't, like, fine. I find those type of stories normally degrading and just not very realistic. I prefer, like, yes, a character has obstacles, but also internally as well. There needs to be more. Her internal obstacle being, she's too much of a perfectionist. She needs to open up more. I find kind of a weak sauce. But
the main problem I had with her character was this. Was related to, we're always told how, she's this logical person over being emotional. And Makram says this about her. It's how she supposedly presents herself in life and how she's logical. But then when the moments matter to show her character, she's very emotional. In a sense, like, it is a romantasy. And when it comes to her and Makram's relationship and everything becomes about Makram, yes, maybe Makram's a special character that breaks down her walls, usually logical self. But that is the time where to test the character to show, how she protects Makram in publicly. The first time everybody's ever protected a Hara, who, by the way, Makram's this Hara who has these special powers, right? And so when it comes to Makram, suddenly she is less logical, just fully emotional. Because it is a romantasy, but that is where you could have played with a very interesting character of take a romantasy where this Naime character, it's a very, very simple thing. I get this, but Pride and Prejudice, like, okay, 10 seconds spoilers for Pride and Prejudice, but where our main character in Pride and Prejudice, who, oh my God, Jane Austen's the author. My goodness.
Jane is one of the daughters, but
she is okay. But the main character in Pride and Prejudice, how looks at Mr. Darcy and is like, "The hell, screw you, Mr. Darcy," and then goes off and has her own story and plot happen to her, and then
she has other there is more to her character than just opining after Mr. Darcy. She cares about her sister deeply. She has her friends. Her family. She has a life.
But then for Naime, all of her things, like you said, at the emotional part of everything just lines up perfectly. This is all wins. This is perfect. Great. All the conflict of, like, good person that will solve. I can get into leadership position. I find somebody I actually love. Oh my goodness, like an actual genuine connection and
someone who can't actually take the throne from me and won't be manipulated by the council.
And someone who literally says they're going to serve me and, like, great, everything lines up. And so any type of interesting thing with her character of having this logical or emotional thing gets thrown out the window by the romance. So that's what I'm trying to get at by the romance part of this book does take away and detract from what is initially a good premise, I think.
It also takes away from her character in the sense of there's one particular scene, which is my favorite scene in the book, that we needed a lot more of, for her character. In very early on, the first one of the first political scheming kind of scenes, Kadir brings this condemned criminal in front of the court, and basically to try to make her look weak in front of the people and from the counselors, all this stuff, and she, in a very logical way, actually dresses him down, addresses the situation while also not having to, execute a man publicly. She was put into a lose-lose scenario of, hey, you either execute him publicly and people are going to be horrified with you and I can call you a tyrant, or you don't do that and you actually, let the rule of law continue and let him be judged by, actually have a court appearance, and I get to call you weak and you look indecisive in front of the public. She handles it very well with a little bit of spice and fear there of, like, oh yeah, you've displeased me. Do I need to have a court? And it's written in a way that it's actually compelling. And like, oh, yeah, I see why she's good at this. This is a good... And guess what she's thinking through the entire scene? Nothing about Makram. Nothing. He is not a part of that scene. Because she is focused on the task at hand because she's a good ruler. She's logical. There's no time for that right now. She is a ruler, too. She's not just some lady in love with the hot pretty boy over there. There is more to her.
She has agency.
She has agency.
Yeah.
After that, every single political machination scene that could have been more interesting was completely distracted with it. Every time she's doing something, Makram is brought up. And like that is the dominant thought in her head at all times through every single scene. Got it. So exhausting. And she didn't feel like an actual person anymore. Or even a competent ruler. Of like, would I really want the ruler that like during every important scene, she's only thinking about her crush? That's literally the only thing she can think about. My lord, that really brought down her character for me.
Yeah.
I needed more to her. And add on top of that, of her friendship with Samira. And Samira going through this, her romance with a man that Naime finds detestable. And clearly some degree of abusiveness is somehow there. It's hinted at. And just leaves it alone. That's my friend's decision. Now back off to Makram. No, give me a nice subplot of her caring about her friend and dealing with her friend's issues and trying to help her. Give me that. Naime can also have friends. Her whole life does not need to revolve and exclusively involve Makram. And it makes her a worse character for this book to do so.
And specifically Naime's character too, because you get to insert this archetype of this romance between female main protagonist and male protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty. You look at Violet in Fourth Wing. You look at Akatar's main character. Oh, Feyre, because it's like Feyre, yeah. Of course, you're going to have this romance element, but specifically for her, it takes away from what was an interesting character. She was somebody, and it seems like this makes her, like, yes, she's now in love, but it takes away what was somebody that felt more real beforehand. And as soon as now she's involved with Makram, she now blends into with every other archetype. Mm-hmm. And it makes it worse too, because it almost feels like two different characters. It's now character one, character two. So I don't understand who she is as much. What I was led to believe and set up in part one. I get this too. Why she falls in love is, again, this male-dominated field where people don't respect her, look at her this way. And in the same way, Makram is this Hara, this freak who they're killed. His own parents don't even. Yep.
I say it just as a correction, though.
Yeah.
Actually, Hara is the super powerful mage. He's a death mage of the sixth house.
Yes, thank you.
That's what makes him a freak.
Yes, he's the death mage of the sixth house. Makes him a freak. His parents looking at him this way. And oh my God, this one woman's now looking at me like I'm a normal person. So they both feel seen. Again, how many times do I need to... Oh my God. Okay, sorry. Again, that's the genre thing where I'm going to roll my eyes and go, all right, cool. Yeah. However, you look at that and then... so I understand how she falls in love with him. I understand why he falls in love with her. You feel seen. You've had this upbringing, and now look at you bonding over time. Get it. However, her character, when falling in love and having this interaction, how we're set up and led to believe in that negotiation scene, for example, is I would have expected a character like her and her love interest to be a lot more dynamic, to not, again, just fall into place like this. And I guess it's lack of interest in Makram and her's relationship, because the conflict we have is that one moment that you have in every romance book with, you make the coitus and then, there's some issue we have, and then come back together. But having a genuine conflict rather than, I guess these are lovers meant to be soulmates. Maybe it's part of that. But the point is, I think the romance takes away from the character she was. In that sense.
I agree.
And Makram, getting into him, he
started less and he fell through the floor of he's not
He's not a person.
character.
Yeah.
He's not a person.
No. Like so Naime, again, all of my problems with Naime, like as a character, were good at the start. I think it really does all fall through with Makram. Like, Makram is the issue here, and the central point of the book, because you kind of have to be invested in Makram to like the love story and all of that. Makram, I agree with you, does lose himself as he's not a person.
He starts as maybe a character and then quickly just becomes nothing. He has no agency, no element to him. He is just obsessed with Naime. Like, I respect you. I just want to serve you. And that's literally everything. That's all he is.
You're my queen, Daenerys. My queen. Like,
she is our queen.
She's our queen. And yeah, okay,
that's it.
I get it. That could be green flags. Like, oh, look at this man who's the first man who's able to actually.
Thing is,
look at me this way.
You can have that.
Yeah.
You can have that be an element to his character. That can't be it. There's more to him.
My queen.
Like, he has to be like. There's more to a person. Had one or two things.
Just a second thing.
A second thing.
The thing with him is his relationship with his brother, right?
Yeah.
He looks at his brother and kind of lying to himself that his brother is this leader, and it's this he's trying to create this visage of his brother. Like, okay, he's lying to himself. It's actually not the case, and he just doesn't want to admit it. And finally, when he meets somebody that's worth serving, worth being loyal to, that's the idea, right? That we could agree on that. That's
that's
what,
where does your loyalty lie?
Yes, where does your sword of Kaigen does not work as well.
So, where do you Kaigen your sword? Okay.
don't talk again. Yeah. But so that I guess that's part of it too, where I get the idea. The idea is there of brother not being somebody worth serving, but she is. What did you think about that? Because I guess that's his flaw. Okay, his flaw is, man, he's too loyal. Like, he's too willing to lie to himself to like stay by his brother's side and have these ideals. He's just too. He's too good of a person.
he's cocky and he's reckless. But he wins every time. Yeah. His recklessness. And it's like, you're so reckless. You just do things without thinking. But then the things he does is like, oh, that's a genuine plan that he thought out. And like, he did it because, like, oh, you just went and decided this challenge in the middle. Like, just random plans. Like, yeah, because I had foreknowledge and I knew about these tunnels and clearly you all didn't. That's why I suggested this plan. I had He's smart. He's not that reckless, if at all. Like, he's hesitant. He doesn't take power from his brother. Yeah, no, he's. And then beyond that, once he falls in love with Naime, which is pretty darn quick, that's all of his thoughts. Every single thought, every single time he is on the page, he is just thinking about Naime, of how gorgeous she is, how smart she is, how good of a leader does he. Even when he goes back to think about his brother and his relationship there, it ultimately leads back to Naime. If Naime is actually the person that I need to serve, not my brother. And that's it. That's all he is. That's dull. That's not a real character. Explore more Tarek, other than just surface level. If Tarek and him are, they're super open and honest with each other, and they're, pretend to butt heads in public, but actually they're pretty cool in secret.
Well, even that, take their character flaws that are already established and put that into the romance element, and it makes a better romance. For example, take his thing of like lying to himself about his brother. What if the story is he looks at Naime and is falling in love, but then is thinking about his brother and Naime and can he trust his own judgment? Does he actually love her? Or again, is this one of those situations where he's seeing this? He's trying to project this perfect idea of the individual. So have
the brother reveal scene of like him breaking down and going, oh, my brother is not trustworthy, not a worthy leader. Yep. Have that earlier.
Yes.
And then him now second guessing his love with Naime.
And now that he's second guessing his love with Naime, is this just, again, am I just lying to myself? Am I just trying to have these machinations? And how can I trust my own? Now it's more of a self-doubt. And how can you trust your own judgments? And okay. He's a real
Yeah.
person then. Like, don't just everything again. It's just to solve conflict
Or
overcome.
add in the dynamic of him. Give us a chapter or two of his thoughts about taking the throne. There's several times when Tarek, and there's clearly many different people, want him to take his brother's throne.
Mm-hmm.
And so what are his thoughts about it? He doesn't. I'm a soldier, I'm a follower, I don't do that. Explore that, because that is a part of him. That's a part of his identity that does not involve Naime. Like, give him, like, people are more than just the romance between each other. That you have to make a full character first, then have the romance as a part of it. Like, but no, we just sidestep. He can't be interested in the throne. He can't wonder. He can't be conflicted on it, because if he is, then Naime doesn't get the perfect husband that basically will just follow, give her all authority. He doesn't desire the throne at all. He has no thoughts for himself. Just nice doggy.
Right there for the plot. Like, perfect fit. You found the one man.
You couldn't have him talk with Naime about maybe his desire for his brother's throne, and then her having the immediate thought of going, if I were to marry him, would he covet my throne?
There's nothing more empowering.
Ooh, conflict.
There's nothing more empowering, nothing more empowering than a man solving all your problems, right? Like, yeah, is that what the book's saying here?
He literally does. That bothered me so much in that scene of her going, oh, it can never be. I'm like, girl, it literally solves everything. How are you that dense? How are you that dumb? It solves all of your problems. He's perfect for not just you, but also the plot. Why? Oh, he's also the special magic person that you need in your circle thingy. Oh, look at that. Oh, well, he also fits that? That's great. She needs to
convince the people that he's accepted, and there's more somewhere. So, yeah, that's why I guess all my overthoughts do go to the characters of it. They just did not work for those reasons.
Yeah.
And then especially the side characters too, where you get the Kadir, you get the friends. Like, Kadir, what a milquetoast antagonist to me. Just he's presented
so
as
much setup of he was supposed to be intimidating and conniving and has all these plans. Man, his plans are shit.
Also, the ending with him.
Yeah, he just
capitulate. I mean, there's more, but yes, it's just what kind of finale and last stand? What was the antagonist's plan the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, his last stand was sending that letter early and hoping she gets caught, which, again, dumb plan. Like, oh, yeah, I'm going to send off a thing where, I'm going to get her in the treaty, in the fake treaty that we make. I'm offering her hand in marriage. Okay. Let's expand on this. You were worried, Kadir, you're worried about, you want to remove people from the line of succession for the throne. What happens if the leader of another foreign nation marries the only princess of yours? Does that maybe, possibly, create more legitimate heirs to the throne that you covet? Maybe. You want her gone. You want no lineage. You want her cousin, removed from the line of succession. Not add more people. That's dumb. That's a real dumb plan. Because then all the foreign nation has to do is like, I literally married your princess, the next in line to the throne, by your own goddamn law. I get to be sultan. That's your plan. It's dumb. It's dumb as hell. It's a dumb plan.
I'm lowering my score to a 1.5 for characters. I just lowered. Okay.
I fucking hate it.
I lowered it a little bit.
Now, I hear you saying, like, Steelman this. He never intended for her to actually be married. He made the term so offensive that he was hoping her to be killed right on the spot. Which, I don't know. If I'm the if I'm the leader of the foreign nation, and I'm going like, hey, look, a much stronger, like magically stronger nation just offered me their princess, and I can like basically like, take their throne. Why not? Like, what reason would there be to say no at this? Like, Kadir didn't know that the brother just like hates magic and is illogical. Yeah, no. Dumb plan. Real dumb. Dumb, dumb, dumb. I mean, it would have been better if him just not even offer terms of an actual alliance and just write a very scathing, like, go fuck yourself. Your nation is terrible. Like, these are terms of denial. You're an evil, barbarian country. We offer you nothing. We think less of you than dirt. And then, Princess comes in and they're like, no, you don't have terms of a deal. Like, then they throw her in jail or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that have worked?
Yeah.
Great, because then when they open the gates, they're like,
What the hell?
who the hell are you? You guys denied the terms. And yeah, no, that would have been a better plan.
I like your idea there. Yeah.
But Kadir is dumb. That's
I
his poor plan.
Of all the characters, Macrum's still the one that just...
Yeah, well, he's a central character and he's nothing.
Yeah, Kadir's side character.
He's a side character and he's nothing. But, that's the side character.
Yeah.
Samira, I wanted more of. I found her the most intriguing of the side character because she has this... there's a curiosity, there's a mystery to her. Like, she is a fire mage, and apparently fire mages have this deep, passionate love that you just can't get rid of. So she's in love with a man that she really shouldn't be, and has done terrible things, maybe not even directly to her, but to other people, and she finds it detestable, but she can't help but love him. Okay, interesting. Explore that. Let's have more of that. That seems like conflict. But no, we don't get that. We're not allowed that. Oh, well.
I will say the one romance thing I did like.
What'd you like?
About the characters.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one could stop a breath and one could stop a heart. That was pretty cute.
That was pretty cute.
I was like, hey, you know what? That they are meant to be.
Also, good dialogue and him going like, I'm a death mage. I could stop people's heart, and like I'm a monster, horrible. And she's like, I can literally stop people's breath. Like, what's the difference? We both can kill people like that, like a thought. I can take your breath away, literally.
What a threat.
Yeah. So, I mean, great logical argument there of like, what's the functional difference? Fire mages can roast you alive. I would argue that's worse than just quietly stopping your heart in the middle of the night.
It's kind of peaceful, actually.
I'd rather go that way than being torched alive with a thought. So, yeah, I liked one. Again, that's world building stuff. I'm like, yeah, I understand the confusion. I understand the prejudice against the death mages. I totally get it. But also, yeah, like everyone else is kind of a death mage.
I also like the story of why they're called death mages too was kind of cool to figure out from Macrum's perspective. Want to go to plot next?
Let's go to plot.
Okay, plot. I give it 2-star flawed.
I did too. 2 stars.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a flawed plot. We went over a little bit in characters. I think the beginning is certainly better, but ultimately, so many scenes of the romance drag this whole story out. Like the actual A plot of Naime trying to become the Sultanate in full in her own stead and try to negotiate this alliance. With the plot that we got, that's a novella length, really. That was stretched into a novel because so many romance scenes just dragged this whole thing.
Yeah, pacing wise, the romance scenes were long, just physically. But when we're talking about stories and having this A plot and B plot, the theme of what we've been saying so far is that the B plot detracts the story. The romance takes away, in our opinion, there. So
yeah, would it be fair to say that the romance is really the A plot?
That's also fair.
I think we're promised in the beginning that the A plot is the power, the vying for the throne. I think that's promised to us.
That is the promise, and then the romance takes that promise and makes that's where the puzzle pieces we're talking about of the conflict gone, conflict gone, conflict gone.
Yeah. But what else would you say about the plot? Because you thought it was significantly flawed. What other flaws?
Yeah. So this talking about the genre as a whole, we mentioned the plot beats of what has to happen with the lovers and eventually break up, come back together. Those typical plot points. This one, it was the two things: pacing and lack of tension when tension moments were needed. So that's what kept me less invested in the plot, even though I was in the start in the setup of things. I like the setup of father with dementia. That's conflict. Father with dementia. How do you hide this? What are you going to do? Everything just kind of the air was let out by the romance. That is the flaw. The flaw is in the romanticy aspect of this. I think detracted the book for me.
Yeah.
Whereas and not going to spoil anything, the romance element of Sword of Kaigen or any other romance that I love in stories adds value because it adds to the tension and conflict and makes the story A, more interesting, but also B, necessary to the theme of the story and the dynamic between the characters. When we see
the romance can't only be the solution to the story.
Yeah.
Because I think ultimately most of these stories, I think it's completely valid and probably the most valid when romance is a significant part of your story, that it is the solution.
Yeah.
But it can't only be the solution. It also has to cause conflict. There has to be sacrifice. There has to be some kind of tension, that the romance isn't just the answer to every single problem, because that's what it is, because that adds false tension throughout this story. Because pretty early on of like, hey, this romance solves like all of your problems. So you have to create these fake problems that feel forced in. Versus you add actual real conflict, where the romance is part of the problem and also part of the solution. And that's the back and forth, the fun tension there.
Yes.
So, also there's a little side thing. Makram's showing up at the exact last minute. How many times that, like, it happened a few too many times. The last one was definitely the most egregious of he's in another country. No hurt. Like, there's a civil war. Who knows? That's the last time we heard of him. And she's breaking down crying.
All is lost. Literally, the words all is lost was used in the book. Yeah.
In minutes, I'm gonna have to go tomorrow. I have to go, like, literally in a few hours. I'm gonna have to confront the council. I don't know what to do. Makram shows up right the second, no warning, and like that happened a few too many times. Especially you don't get to be cute with it. Like, is my timing, the worst or just right? And I'm like, no, you don't get to be cute. Don't get to be cute with that. Just because you're making a joke doesn't make it annoying as shit. Still annoying.
What are those called? Not false. There's a term for that. There's a literal term for that.
That just calling attention to the flaw doesn't make the flaw go away.
Yeah, what is that called? The wagon, Well,
while you're searching, do you want me to start? Because other than that, I don't have anything else to say about the plot other than lack of tension, romance, everything you've said there, and the stretching, the pacing is a significant issue. So
we agree there. I'm gonna find out what that word is eventually. There's a nice term for it. It starts with an L, I think. Someone please comment down below. There's a great term for it. Lamp shading. Lamp shading.
Oh,
that's it.
Yes.
That is the term. Let me make sure I have that right.
I think you are right. That does spark a memory.
Yes, lamp shading is a literary communication technique where an element of a story or situation that is implausible, cliched, or flawed is pointed out by the creator or author to diffuse skepticism and move on. That's what it is. It's that lamp shading, and that frustrates me in stories of just because, hey, I'm aware that this is a little cliched. I'm aware, but since I'm self-aware, doesn't that make it good? No, it just means that it wasn't smooth. You had to acknowledge it because there was no other way to go about it to make the story satisfying. Yeah.
Now, to be fair, that is more of an annoyance than a permanent flaw. That's not the thing that's dragging everything down for me.
It's just another thing. Yes.
It's just an annoyance.
Yeah.
So,
but I do think that is if it's played for humor, so Deadpool stuff, and played for literal comedy, and it's the point of it. funny. Haha.
Yeah.
It's when it's there to bandage something that.
I would say Deadpool is a great example of every movie that goes on. The first movie, it actually is intentional and very fun, and it's not covering up a flaw as a point. By the third movie, it definitely is. It actually is just flaws that you're lampshading. So
I like the third one a lot.
it's fun, but
Yeah.
it has problems. Like, it is not a
The plot
particularly
did,
well
but
written movie.
no, the plot had problems, but it was funny. It was like very funny movie.
Yeah, I just think the first movie has a far more rewatchability because it's a better written movie and not lampshading.
Gotcha.
But I would say the third movie does do that.
Lampshades more. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So world building you were getting into? What'd you give it out of 5?
I decided to give it a 3.25.
I give it a 3 neutral. So above average for you?
Above average. The beginning did a lot. It intrigued me. It does enough. It's not just the magic. The magic system is something kind of amalgamation you've seen before, but I think it does take it a bit more serious. I'm given enough there that I'm intrigued, but I like the Sultanate, the war that's passed between these two countries, and then this empire beyond that wants to eliminate all magic. Like, it's well set up that I think it's above average. I could have used a bit more. I think the romance plot does take away from some of the world building that could have been important. But yeah, I'd still say slightly above average.
The world building moment for me where I really appreciated was Makram describing why they're called the death, because they would take care of the dead essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And that turned from something that was a positive thing that they were doing into a negative and into a stigma.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool world building element there. I appreciated that. And I think in general, the atmosphere was good. And that is the part I enjoyed most about the book, was that set up political intrigue. It's always so cool. They have the 6 different houses. I have them written down here. You have house 1, the air and intellect. You have house 2, water and emotion. House 3 is creation, life and joy. House 4 is earth and duty. House 5, fire and passion. House 6 is destruction, death, and sorrow. You have and the sundering was very cool. So there was the sundering and the split of the 6 wheels. There was a bit of the history of, what happened pre-sundering? Who are these Haras, these ultimate powerful magic users? And there was enough there to that I was
fun.
I was also asking in my head, like, I want to know a little bit more. Yeah. I want to know more about that. Yeah.
Yeah, the fun mysticism there of one of her goals being to complete the wheel, to harmonize, to bring back both the death mages and the creation mages into the wheel. That being the only solution to, become whole again, bring magic, bring the strength of the magic back. I'm there for that. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. So I liked it, and it intrigued me enough that I wanted more of it, and especially that history connected to it. I wanted to know more about the Empire. Like, why do they hate mages? Why are they so against it? And I was intrigued, like, the conflict, like how it, we got the whole technology versus magic conflict looming, which I was intrigued how that was gonna go. Like, how do you beat the fire mages? Like, what do you do? Like, cannons? I don't know what they're gonna do. So that intrigued me enough. But yeah, I think I really could have wanted more to make it good. So I'd say above average.
Very fair. What about Prose?
Certainly better than Fourth Wing. Like, miles.
What'd you give it?
3.25. Above average.
Me too. 3.25. What average?
I think this is the reason despite all of my issues with it, I would recommend this. If I knew someone really liked Dakatar, someone really liked Fourth Wing, I would definitely recommend this book to them. I think
100%.
it's a well-written book in that genre, despite my problems with it. I think my problems with the characters and plot go deeper into the romantasy genre and just how it is today. I don't know if I would love to hear from people down below if you've heard the problems that we have with romantasy in the idea that these characters feel so one note, of like their entire personality is the romance, and they're just obsession with the other. That's literally all they are. Are there romantasy books where that problem is more alleviated, where they do have other they have scenes where they're not just focused about the other character? Let us know down below. I would love to have good examples of romantasy that we can read. It would be far more intriguing. I
Well,
want to be able to compare this stuff.
Also,
well.
even if that's all it is, like a romance, I'm thinking of many movies I love, like Eternal Sunshine, The Spotless Mind, La La Land. Those are the first two that come to mind. Your Name. Even these kind of romances, that's the focus of it. However, it's the conflict and tension and then ultimate resolution that feels like as if every moment mattered to have this final thought that you had to say about love. So why
the romance it gets in the way. That
this one doesn't
some
get
kind
it's
of
the
want.
points, and it has something to say about that. When Harry Met Sally, like a fun romance. There's all that kind of romantic tie where I guess romantasy, we joke around and stuff, but it does go on the lens of titillating and these longer scenes of, is that something that you've been waiting and building up, this romantic tension
And more wish fulfillment rather than
like,
giving characters actual flaws and tension and like an actual decision to be made.
Right.
Compare that to a story like La La Land, where the will they, won't they, there's an actual conflict between that. There's not an obvious answer. That's where the tension comes from.
And if La La Land had then had a 5-minute sex scene, I would be like, what? Why? It's so again, it's a taste thing, and it's okay to have different tastes.
The sex scene went real long. It was not as spicy as other things we've read, but it was a lot of pages.
It was a lot of pages.
I turned just me?
I turned my audio speed up a lot during the scene.
Okay.
Yeah. I did too because I just know I'm not going to enjoy it. So I'm like, all right, let's.
I had my audiobook speed at, I think, 1.8 ish. I think it was 1.8, 1.85. And on my way back from picking up groceries for our trip and everything, which is about 45 minutes, the sex scene started when I left. And it was still going.
No way.
Ish. I think the sex scene was roughly 35-ish minutes.
Wow.
And I'm going at 1.85 speed.
Oh.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
It was a lot. I was driving on.
Well, there was also there was the build-up sex scene and then the actual sex scene as well.
True.
So you had two separate long segments. So maybe it was a part of that. So
maybe.
But the prose though was above that. The prose it was well written enough, and
the dialogue scenes way better than Fourth Wing. Oh, I cannot explain to you, like, it's so much better than Fourth Wing. So much better. I almost want to raise it higher to like a 5 because if that's my emotional feeling of the difference between it and Fourth Wing. The prose is so much better. The dialogue is better. The descriptions are better. Thank you. It made this not painful to read. I have my problems with it.
Yeah.
But it didn't hurt me to read it.
Well, let me ask you this in the end then. We have any final thoughts, rating changes, overview of what you thought about the book? Let's get our final thoughts and still hold the same opinion, I think. I lowered my characters down to 1.5 because I think that really is a sticking point that I gotta say is bad.
Through our discussion, I am going to be lowering my overall rating to a 1.75.
Okay, so we're both at that. Let me adjust that then.
It does, for me, it goes beyond flawed. I think I was giving it a boost because of I was going like,
your other experiences.
My other experience
books,
with romantasy, I'm going, well, this is better than some of those.
Mm-hmm.
I was giving it a boost in that sense, but
yeah,
I still think it is that. I think it is not good. So.
Thank you so much, Mark Lawrence, for having us do this judging.
It's an absolute pleasure to be doing this. I very much enjoy it.
Please invite us back.
Please.
I feel because it feels bad. Well, it can't feel bad because these are successful books and authors that won the competitions.
Yeah.
You don't need us praising it for it to do well. It's already going to do so well.
Also,
yeah.
after one of these reviews, I don't know about you,
Mhm.
I would feel bad crapping on a book and like saying, this book sucks, and giving no actual substantive criticism,
Mhm.
and just laying on sloganeering and just it was boring and blah blah blah, like giving nothing to it. I don't feel nearly as guilty of like spending what are we at, over an hour of actually going in depth of constructive criticism of the issues, if not objective things wrong with the book, but explaining why we did not connect with said book. I can't feel bad about like, what other way are you supposed to give criticism? Isn't that like the most desirable way to do it?
Oh, that's why I love doing this
So
podcast. It's
yeah,
great.
I can't feel bad. Like we try to explain ourselves properly. We're not
it's just the 100%.
insulting.
It's the preface of, when we had Adrian Gibson on, talking straight to the author's face, being like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm so thankful I liked the book more than you.
Yes.
I'm so and it was twisted. I know, like, I totally get why people did not connect with that book, but I know it was like,
yeah,
I got his point. I was connected to
you
him.
got the author's intent.
I got this author's intent like early on,
Mhm.
and it definitely shifted my perspective of that book. Of
Mhm.
like chapter 2, realizing that, I'm actually supposed to hate the main character.
Mhm.
Okay. And then it made that whole book a lot better, where if you're trying to like the character, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
Well,
that's the book.
That was our book review. As always, appreciate doing these SPF fields, and we'll have 3 more to do and see what ends up being our final ranking. Because right now, this now goes, it's still at the bottom, but it went down a little bit more in the total. I just wanted to adjust that to make sure it's...
And for people listening, can we say the next book we're going to review, just so people can maybe get prepped, and if you want to read the book before we actually review it?
Pilgrims by M.R. Leonard, and the audiobook narrator is Jeff Hayes from Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Ooh.
Hell yeah. So we'll be on that. And to also give our SPFBO ranking, just from 1 to 7, if people are interested in that, we have Sword of Kaigen, By Blood, by Salt, Orconomics, Where Loyalties Lie, Small Miracles, Murder at Spindle Manor, and Reign and Ruin. That's so far we're very close. I'm hoping that obviously these final 3 books get on the upper end of that, because it'll be great to read.
Yeah.
More books we like. So
Alrighty.
all right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.